Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Maddie and this is my April wrap-up. So what I read in April. Honestly, that intro was a little too peppy because this month did not go as planned. As you guys saw actually in two videos ago, I filmed a summer TBR. So I kind of show you guys how I plan my TBR, like with my reading journal and Goodreads and Libby and all of that. I usually plan to read 10 books a month. That's my goal every month. But oh my gosh, I only read 3 books this month. 3? And I just didn't plan to only read 3, obviously. I don't even know what really happened. I don't know what I did differently. And I know 3 books can be a lot for some people, but when you are like me, who you're hitting like 11 to 12 books a month, you're like, what happened? What happened this month? What was different? And I really can't pinpoint it. I don't know what happened. I have 10 books scheduled and like set for May. I don't know if I will read them. I obviously fell off on April, but I did read 3 books. I read these 3 books, but this one I'm currently in the middle of, and then I'm also reading one on Kindle Unlimited. It's April 28th, so there's still 2 more days left in April, so maybe I will finish these. So I'm still going to talk about the books that I'm also reading, and if you want to follow my Goodreads to kind of see ahead of time what I'm reading and what I rate the book and what I review it, you can follow my Goodreads, which is linked down below. I am going to talk about these books in lowest to highest ranking order. So we're going to start with the first 3-star book of the month. Honestly, I am disappointed with you guys because the recommendation of this book was just terrible. I hated this book. And I did give it 3 stars, and I'll tell you why. Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton was not a good book. The amount of reviews and recommendations of people telling me that this is such a good book, it was not what you guys described it as. Yes, there was some like a little bit of, I don't know, like it's some people's kink. Just so you guys know, I'm not going to go into the plot of this book. Basically, it's a stalker, but this stalker is actually a pretty good guy. Like, he does some good things for the community, whatever. The girl is actually kind of cool. Liked the girl. She was unique, and the subplot of that kind of her grandmother's murder, like she had to figure out her grandmother's murder, it was fine. All right, the subplot I didn't mind. What I hated was the cringiness of this book. It was like H.D. Carlton wanted to make you find it very creepy, and it just wasn't that creepy. Like I mean, it's a stalker situation, so yes, it's creepy, and like I don't want to diminish other people's triggers, so I'm not saying that, but for me, I don't have many triggers. So in my opinion, this book was so overhyped and so not scary. Now, the first opening sexual spicy scene I did think was a little intense. I didn't love the fact, and this is a big spoiler, so fast forward if you haven't read this book. I'm giving you a second to fast forward. It's not consensual, but she's, God, it's so hard to talk about this book. It wasn't with his wee-wee, it was with the barrel of a gun, and I just was like, what? Why is that even necessary? I wanted it darker, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted it to be really traumatizing, and it just wasn't, and I was thoroughly I don't know what else to say about it. I gave it 3 stars because I thought the ending had potential. The ending, also, people were like, you're gonna want to pick up the second book right away. The ending is such a cliffhanger. And I was like, no, I could give 2 shits about the second book. I don't want to read it. So I'm sorry. Maybe I have an ice cold heart because I really just was like, what's triggering? Like, yes, it's a messed up plot. There's messed up things, and I'm not saying, but I feel like I've read darker. I definitely have read darker books. I was waiting for something new or something like, oh, this is gonna be so dark and it's gonna blow my mind. Yes, it was dark, but it didn't blow my mind. So 3 stars. Sorry about it if it's your favorite book. It just wasn't good. Not worth the hype in my opinion. Next 3-star read that I had was If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I almost had that. Laura Nolan. Now looking back, I'm like, why did I give it 3 stars? But I do remember why. This book is very sad young adult, kind of traumatizing and wholesome. And it kind of reminds me of the book The Way I Used to Be, and I'll put that one right here. It doesn't really remind me because the plot is not the same, but the feeling that I got when I read it, it's young adult, it's set in a high school. There's a sense of tragedy lingering, kind of you're waiting for something. What I did not like about this book is that I would have been so butthurt and shocked at the twist if the twist wasn't in the first chapter. You already know what the end of the book is going to be because the first chapter tells you. I wish the first chapter was completely deleted. This book would have had such a big shock factor and such a big ending if it was put at the end. Like, I just did not like how the first chapter was what it was because it was such a good book. Autumn and Finn grow up to be best friends. Their mothers are best friends, so they were born around the same time. They go to the same school. They're in the same class, all through elementary and middle school. When they get to high school, their cliques and friend groups begin to change and they kind of like grow apart, okay? But there's one incident that does happen that kind of leads to them like really actually falling apart. You kind of are watching Autumn year by year of high school grow up and like change, and she's in this current relationship with another boy. Jamie and Autumn are dating, but you can kind of tell the underlying message that Autumn still really like loves Finn as a friend and loves him probably even a little bit more than a friend. You're just seeing her battle with her thoughts. And then the plot twist happens, and it's not even a plot twist because the first chapter gives it away, and it's like so sad, but it didn't hit as hard as it could have. I think it would have gotten 4 stars if it had not started the way it did. But there's no spice or anything in this. It's very sweet, coming of age, and I thought that Autumn was very, very mature for her age, but in a very realistic way. Like, she describes her feelings towards her current boyfriend, Jamie, and it's just these awkward teenage moments that we all have, and you're like, this is just so funny to be in that perspective because you know when you grow up, things change drastically, so it's just funny to be in like the mind of a teenager again. The next book I gave 3.5 stars, and it is The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. I listened to this book, but I bought it because I liked it so much. It was not as good as the Alice Network in my opinion. So it's about 3 girl friends who end up working for this secret code decoding society. It's called Bletchley Park, and it's just these 3 women who like decode messages like in World War II, and it's very interesting. Every girl has a different relationship with different men, and I thought that it was very interesting, and I actually liked the author's note and this information at the end of the book because it kind of goes into detail about the history on why Kate wrote this book. I've recently just gotten into historical fiction, and I'm starting to like crave it, so I'm gonna read The Diamond Eye soon, and I'm just loving these books. So this is a good one. I don't really have much else to say about it. The audiobook was wonderful. I love that narrator, and I forgot who narrated it. This is gonna be a short video, man. I just finished, basically that's all I read, technically. Let's talk about what I'm currently reading. We'll talk about Kindle Unlimited first. I am currently on page 387, so 59% of the way through the second book. What is it called? I don't remember what any of these books have called. The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is book 2 of Crowns of Nyaxia, and it's basically the same. I talked about it in my March wrap-up. It's about this girl. I can't talk about a second book really, like I don't want to give anything away. Basically, the first book, there's a competition in this world. It's vampires and humans, and it's not like a cringy Twilight vampire either. It's like very realistic. I love it. Shit goes down, and I loved the first book. I gave the first book 5 stars. Plan to finish it today. Like, fingers crossed, I hope I finish it today. I just want to finish a book. I haven't finished a book in like a week, and it just feels weird. Anyway, let's talk about the next book that I'm also reading, which I'm listening to it. I'm 25% of the way through Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, and this is because I read the first 2 books last month in March, and I didn't love them, but they were good enough for me to like keep going, and I like listening to them. I think the narrator, it's kind of frustrating because I listened to the first 2 books. So I listened to Twisted Love and Twisted Games. It's dual POV, and the male narrator, beautiful. Female narrator, kind of annoying, but it's the same 2 narrators for all of the books. So I'm like kind of getting all of the characters confused because they all sound the same. Like, the narrators didn't even try to have like a different voice or anything, especially the female. Like, the female narrator kind of has this like whiny, high-pitched, legally blonde, like very, very over-the-top feminine, and which is not a bad thing, but it's just so repetitive, and I'm like, are all of the female female characters the same personality because that's how it's coming off. Anyway, I don't know how far I am really in this one, but I think I'm 25%. I don't know. I haven't been physically reading. I've just been moving the bookmark along every time I listen to some more. I'm loving this one. Like the first two were okay for me. I heard the second book everyone likes better, but I think I like this one the best so far. I'm way more into their relationship and the bickering and heated, like they're sexually attracted to each other, but they're obviously like they don't like each other. I love it. Again, kind of a weird reading month. Like I was motivated, but I never felt like I had time to read. I really am coming up with excuses on this month. Like, I don't know what happened. Thank you for watching. If you are still at this point, please like and subscribe to help support me. All of my social media is down below. So my Instagram, my Bookstagram, my Amazon wishlist, and my Goodreads. So if you want to go follow me on there, you totally can. Did my voice just crack? I believe it did. Fingers crossed May is a little bit better. But comment down below what you read this month. I'm always interested. See you guys in the next video.